LSU. That was another fantastic game that we all thought it would be. Again, the games all lived up to their expectations this week, in my opinion. Even the Baylor-Auburn game did. That was a fun one, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. A lot of people are saying that LSU is the number one team in the country. And it's tough because, again, these are those overreactions in week one. But when you have the expectations and the rankings and what people thought Clemson could be, should be, and I still think will be, and LSU did a great job of going into a hostile environment, the Temu version of Death Valley, handling it and winning it big in a close one. What Brian Kelly has not been able to do in his first 3 years at LSU, he was finally able to get over the hump, and an experienced quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier, who we've had, accounted for as our top quarterback in the SEC. He didn't look fantastic. I think that defense found a click that they've been struggling, right? I mean, LSU that was what we kind of criticized Kelly for, was not having enough heart, not being hard, not just having that grit in them and flying around. They looked tremendously better. And I don't think Clemson's defensive line got to Garrett and really disrupted him like I thought they would. Is that a Clemson's issue? Is that a LSU's O-line really being ramped up? I don't know, right? Because we were high on Clemson's defensive line because of what they did last year and what they brought back. Could they have just not been on their A game that night? There's a lot of unknown. We heard Brian Kelly saying this is his best offensive line he's had. Was it coach talk? Didn't look like that on Saturday night. That's what I'll tell you. But they just looked like a very complete football team in a hard-nosed fought game against another great team. I think Cade and Garrett looked very good, very poised. They had their issues, as every quarterback did this weekend. But I think they're still two of the best in just simply having poise in the pocket, putting a good spin on the ball, and carrying their offense. But I don't think Clemson's not... Look, I said this before the game. I'm going to say it now. This game was more of an ego battle. This game was more of like, hey, who can ride off this high from it? LSU needed it more than Clemson because they've got Florida in 2 weeks, right? So they needed to have probably a big W here. But in the sense of it impacting their schedule, it was irrelevant, right? And I knew that. But it was still a good game and a good place for rock and roll. And yeah, Jack Piper, man, I watched that game and I kept kind of going back and forth. Did not see a lot of Jack out there. He did not play as, again, for those that are following, obviously he leaves Florida we assume him to go play more. And I didn't see a lot of him. He was out there, but wasn't as scary as maybe we thought he would be. Cody, thoughts on this game, big fella?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? It was a little laggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Pyburn did not look great. I will say this: LSU is very susceptible to lose.
Yeah,
and I'm worried about Garrett Nussmeier making the schedule like the entire season, because he came up kind of gimpy towards the end. I think on that right leg, and so and then also we heard him practice. Yeah, we heard him practice. He had gotten hurt, and I just wonder if he's going to make it, because I don't think they have anything behind him. They did run the ball better with Durham. Durham's a heck of a back. The defense, finally, after we've been screaming for 2 years, they finally figured out what to do with Harold Perkins. They rolled him back to where he should be.
Electric.
And he made play after play after play after play. He can take a game over. I'm going to say this, though. LSU, very susceptible. Are they the number one team in the country? I think you got to crown them right now, because they looked through and through the best. I mean, the offense was clicking. They were able to throw a vertical pass. They're not running the super veer. The defense at times stood up when they needed to. I think maybe that Clemson might have been a little bit overhyped. Truthfully, I thought that this defensive line was absolutely going to eat up Nussmeier, and that just didn't happen. I mean, they hit him a little bit, but when Nussmeier needed to drop back and throw a dot across the middle, boy, he did, and he's one of the best in the country with those middle crossers. 30-yard
episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. We got Thursday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. I took my boy Dak Prescott to have more than the toss-up, the little gimme, half a touchdown. They give us Saquon, who I just drafted in my PPR fantasy, to have more and half a touchdown. And then I think George Pickens is going to have himself a little bit of a game. I'm excited to see what he's able to do in this offense. If you guys want to tail the big dog, get up on after it. PrizePick is simple to play. Just pick one or more less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash on in. PrizePick puts their user first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePick offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account for this football season. Download the app today and use the code Hightop to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Hightop to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is good to be right, baby.
Yards and in. 30 yards and in across the middle. Watch out. There's nobody better.
Let's do a quick little exercise with this whole number one team in the country. If you take away preseason rankings, which is tough. This is what we hate preseason rankings, but they do help gauge. Because if you don't have a preseason ranking and you're just putting team against team, then we are naturally, organically, you're going to, because again, LSU versus Bama. If there's no preseason rankings, then you would just argue Bama sucks. And then now it doesn't have any value to that win. Does that make sense? But it's Alabama. So you have to we're naturally going to put like, well, it's Alabama. They have the number one rated talented team. So that's why the preseason rankings matter for these conversations of like, who is number one? You can't really have a true ranking until probably 5 or 6 weeks in anyways. We know that as well too. But as what we saw is who they went up against, who is your, again, I hate to say number one because Penn State didn't play anybody. These guys didn't do anything, but who was the best looking? Man, I mean, LSU looked great or looked good. I don't know if they looked great. Definitely susceptible to beating. I don't think anybody looked unbeatable. Look, for a clean game and sharp and just dialed in, I got to go with FSU. Like, it kills me. Like, this is like, look, like, no, I'm not number one. This is why I hate it, because it's such an egregious jump. But the problem is because they were unrated. If they were 15 and they won that game, you would have a different appeal on them. But it's because it's like, oh, they went 2-10 last year. Well, you can't say preseason rankings don't matter and then say that, hey, what did they do last year? Because that's how they utilize some of these rankings, is like how they finished, what team is coming into this thing. The problem is that this 2-10 team is nowhere near the same. It's a complete 180 of a football team. You have a new defensive coordinator. You got a new offense. It's a whole new team. And they looked really good. They looked sharp against what was supposed to be a national champion football team. Like, I hate to say it, but like, and I'm going to get a lot of flack as a Gator fan, but like, they looked really, really good. I'm not saying that you still can't beat them. They definitely are one-sided. But when Thomas Castellanos needed to slang that thing, he slanged that thing. And they're able to run the ball. And again, what was more impressive to me was the fly-around speed on defense. That was impressive to me, and that was what got me. And I've seen Mike Norvell go 13-0 when he has a team that looks like this. I ain't seen Brian Kelly do shit since he's been here. And he's had better-looking teams. So I'm not buying the LSU nonsense. Hate me for it. I can eat my words, and I hope I'm wrong about it. I hope that I'm in 2 weeks ago, I'm an idiot. FSU dog water, all right? And I overreacted. That was my overreach for week one.
This is definitely not an overreaction.
I don't think it will be. I think they're going to steamroll. I think they're going to steamroll the ACC. And I freaking hate it.
Can I ask you this? Can I ask you this?
No.
Who's the best team? Who's the best team in Florida?
No, it's Florida Gators.
But,
I'm not gonna get crazy with it.
I'm
not senile. You know.
Well, the great part is we get to use it on the field this year, because we play Miami, you play Miami, we play Florida. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, look, I don't have to answer it. It'll be answered on the football field, 100%. And look, but for me, again, I know people are gonna give me flack for this, but like right now, I feel very confident in this Florida football team. Like, I think Florida goes in, and I'm not, look, as much as I hate, like, playing that style of offense last year, I'm like, we're going to be in shambles. We're going to be, like, people have trouble with that style of offense. I believe that we have the speed in the edge room and in the linebacker room to give Thomas Castellanos fits. He's not perfect. There's a reason he got benched at Boston College. We can get to Thomas Castellanos. Like, you guys aren't an absolute just powerhouse. That I'm not concerned about either. I need to see us improve. I went back and watched our game last night. I got some thoughts on that on our offensive line, which I'm excited to talk about. But I'm very excited where Florida is, and I feel very confident in who we are. But all I got was a small sample size from all three of these teams. FSU was beyond light years of where I expected them to be, and then some. But I'm not intimidated to play them by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be a much harder game than I originally anticipated. But no team, which was the satisfying part for me this past weekend, scared me at all. I mean, honestly, Georgia looked really good. Georgia looked a lot better than I thought they would. They're running that. Stockton's running this offense in a very unique way, a non-Georgia way that I haven't seen before. And they've also got some wide receiver talent that they haven't had in years past. So, look, the schedule as we know it was a gauntlet. It may have just became one of the hardest schedules of all time.
Well, talking about his LSU game, Garrett Nussmeier, who I think is the best quarterback in the country, he proved it. That's a tough game that he played in, and I'm going to tell you that touchdown pass that he threw might have been the best throw you'll see all year because he threw it over the corner, in between the safety, threw it to the outside shoulder, and it hit him right in the only spot he could catch it. It was probably the best throw of the week, honestly. And like you said, the defense played phenomenal, which I have not seen a Brian Kelly defense. This new coordinator they got, maybe this is the answer because it's the defense for me that really, really stepped up and played football. I think Klubnik was like 19 of 38. I mean, they were playing football. They were flying all around the field. Like you said, Perkins was used in the way he was supposed to be. Somebody finally gets it. And when it comes to Florida State and you're talking about, I think they executed better than anyone else. That's the difference. I think they didn't make any mistakes on offense or defense. Obviously I'm not talking about penalties or anything like that, but they executed the offense to the way it was supposed to. And I'm going to tell you, Castellanos, he is fast. I mean, he is electric. Like, don't blink because he's gone, and that's him. When he would drop back, he made decisive decisions to run or throw. It wasn't any question about it. So I think they executed better than anyone else in the country this week, and that's what I was impressed with.
I will say this real fast about FSU. Listen, before we crown them the national champions incoming, Gus Malzahn also got ran out of UCF running the same offense. This offense isn't the super secret weapon. There are defenses that can stop it, that have speed on the edges and good linebacker play and some sound corners. I think that FSU very good, but I think that they might run into a couple defenses this year and they might get buzzsawed. Now, the good thing about FSU this year, as opposed to last year, is they do have a pretty good defense. They were shutting down the run. They shut down the pass. So that might be the savior in some of these games where the offense isn't clicking on all cylinders.
Look, I think, and again, this is overreaction week one. This is anticipated, so people keep this in mind. The comment sections are going to be lit up. I already could tell because it's funny. Like people I see they like listen and they immediately run to the comment section, and we usually will catch ourselves or address it. It's just funny to watch. But I think, yes, the Gus Malzahn offense struggled at UCF for multiple reasons. KJ Jefferson is not good. And it was the RJ Harvey show, so it was not similar at all. 2 years prior to that offense was ran much better. Not near as much talent at UCF as they have at FSU. Secondly, it struggled in the red zone. Okay? And so that's left to be unknown. Again, FSU's not a powerhouse. They're beatable. I'm not like we have to understand this. But I've seen this offense, and I've seen Norvell coach it, and I've seen it have success. There is a history here. We use everything that we talk about, and metrics, numbers, etc., pre-polls, from history, from things that we know, from data points that we've seen. Why are you ignoring this one? This is where I think we have to, as guys that talk about it, like, I'm a Gator fan. I hate FSU. I'm not looking forward to going back to work and talking to these doofuses, these mouth breathers that are going to come talk to me about how they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I got to deal with it now. After I've just talked smack for an entire year, they're going to be like this. After they said, I don't even watch football, I know they're going to come knocking on my door. It's fine. It is what it is. Kudos. Go get it. Go get it. You look good. And they should. They should be excited. They look like the FSU of 2 years ago that should have been a playoff team. Love that they weren't, but should have been a playoff team. And they got their revenge in the sweetest way because Bama was the team that booted them out of it 2 years ago.
I got one thing to say to Cody. You're right. Malzahn got run out of UCF, but don't forget he also took Auburn to a national title with Nick Marshall with this offense as well.
Yeah, I feel like, and I think that look, Cody loves to hate, and Cody's having a hard time swallowing this pill as a Florida fan. I can see that it's the bitterness. Cody, just because you're shorter in life, you can move the camera down, buddy. We look like we're T-Mobile here. We're raised in the bar.
Okay.
Can you fix? You're freaking me out. There we go. Square that thing up, big fella.
I'm going to
Still
say
insane.
this. I think I just complimented him. I just said
No,
when
I
the
know.
offense
I'm
isn't
just
going,
giving
I
you a
think the
hard time.
defense can. I'm not ready to crown him and be the national champion after week 1, though. I mean,
neither.
I've seen this
No, there's
super
nobody
absolutely
looks like that, like a dog. Nobody. Which is
I
awesome.
agree. I thought it was
crumbled.
there was a lot of parity is what it looked like to me. And that's what's awesome. I thought there was a lot of parity in the way teams look. They had their weaknesses, they had their strengths. I just thought we executed better than anyone
Here's
else.
what's going to happen. After this week,
wait.
I think John Mateer in Oklahoma steamroll Michigan. That's going to be the team that people talk about. That's going to be the team
I love John
think
Mateer.
that's
Love
going to get a, because
But-
it was already
again-
building. There's going to be no big games that really kind of shake you this weekend. That game will, and that'll be the new conversation in week 2. Watch.
But why? They're not that. Michigan wasn't that good last year. Their only claim to fame was the Ohio State
Because
win.
you're going. I think they're
They
going to
suck.
steamroll. I think they're going to steamroll.
Okay. You steamroll a bad team. We steamrolled the mixed drinks this past weekend.
Oklahoma's
Not the
good,
same.
buddy.
Not the same.
It doesn't matter.
Oklahoma's
Oh
good.
yeah, I know. Oklahoma figured out the offense finally. I don't understand.
Oh, you mean they complete passes?
why
real
we
quick,
get
real
why
quick. This comment
so
is
hung up.
what makes me want to just bash my head through a wall. The USF offensive line allowed 11 tackle for losses. Hey, quit reading Twitter headlines and go watch the game before you comment, okay? Because you look dumb. You look like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. That's what it is. You're looking for clout. You got it. You got my attention. Congratulations. But that's not even close to true. That had nothing to do with the offensive line. More with play calling and screens. Nothing to do with the offensive line. And that's where, again, we talk on the show, Ty hates stats. Stat lines don't tell an entire story. You know what's ironic?
They don't.
I said it, I think, on the Saturday show because DJ went 15 for 18, 80% completion rate. And last year, what was his issue? He had a hard time completing balls, like 56%. And so everyone's like, oh, he only completed 56% of his passes. But you watch the game. What he brought to the game was a different level. I think he looked worse on Saturday than he did last week, but he had 80% completion. That numbers don't tell an entire story, right? And when I say
They don't.
worse,
You got to watch the game.
You got to watch the game. You got to feel it. You got to know what you're talking about.
A tackle for a loss only means that you were tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So
But yeah, it's not a
obviously
sack.
with
It's
all
not. Yeah, we ran the ball like an absolute freak. It was the blocking outside that was not even blocking. It was just poor play calling. Poor play.
I would just like to thank Billy Napier for not beating LIU by plus 57.5 because I would live bet LIU plus 57.5, and I was like, he's going to calm down a little bit. He's going to calm down.
He did.
And he calmed down. And I greatly appreciate
He didn't even
Billy
want to
Napier
put
for that.
55 up. He apologized for putting 55 up. So yeah, you're good. I do agree with this. You stop Malzahn's running game and the whole offense collapse. That is one thing I do want to say. Like, let's pump the brakes. Like, let's have a little bit of pushback. Because I'm not here to just jump and just ride everybody's jockstrap either. We didn't see FSU truly be challenged. We never saw them have to answer the buck. The buck was only addressed at the beginning of the game and all preseason, right? That was the buck that they had to answer. They never really faced any true adversity throughout the game. So Thomas never had any stress. We saw Carson Beck face it, which we'll get into, and he struggled with it. FSU, and look, kudos to them. You never had to deal with it, so it's not a problem. Other teams are going to make you, you're going to face it. Clemson will make you face it. Miami will make you face it. And that's what we don't know yet. That's the unknown. And that's why everything is an overreaction. And that's where you can go and lean to the LSU because they had everything. They looked good. They had the wind beneath their wings. They had a little bit of adversity. They had some play calls not go their way. They were struggling. They were down. They had to find it with them to find a way to win. And that is what you want to see in a good football team. And FSU didn't have to because they just bullied Bama the whole time.
Where the game is won and lost, we love to talk about the quarterbacks and the running backs and wide receivers, and they're all fun. They get all the touchdowns, but the trenches is where the football game is won. I mean, and our offensive line dominated a very good Bama front. I mean, that's what I was impressed with. That was the only thing I took from that football game was I was impressed with the way the trenches were held.
Yeah,
and they
I
were
agree.
held pretty much perfect. I mean, and I don't even think we got sacked. I don't even know if we got sacked once. I mean, we only threw the ball 14 times. But we
He's
dropped
going to be
back
hard
more
to
than
sack
that,
this year. And it'd be accounted as a sack because he's going to be so elusive. He'll be out of the pocket almost every time he gets tackled if he does. Because he did get tackled in the backfield. I saw it, but he was rolled out. So I don't know if they label that as a sack, but he did get tackled by the line a couple of times.
If it was a run or that matters. But whatever.
He rolled out.